This is Boxing Tickets NI in association with Violent Gentlemen. We're glad to say we've got the main man, John Cooney, back. How are you, John?
Yeah, good. Good to be back on. Good to be back on, chatting everything upcoming and everything boxing. So it's all good. Yeah,
Definitely
all
is.
good, my
Obviously,
friend.
anybody that sort of watched the first sort of interview and sort of now watching the second one, they go, that's not John Cooney. John Cooney's changed.
Yeah. Bit of a different hairstyle for this one. Thought I'd change up for you.
Definitely is. Obviously, it's nothing to do with the fact you turned 25 in April.
No. It's just getting fed up of it. It was mad curly, and it's just hard to deal with when you're training sometimes. So I just got to a point where it was starting to get warmer outside, and I just started getting sick of it. I said, "All right, it needs to go." I was probably the longest I've ever had it. So normally, through the years, I would have had shorter hair most of the time. So yeah,
Definitely. I
I
guess,
love
obviously,
it.
it's less probably telltale signs for the opponent when you're sort of throwing punches as well, because they're not going to see the hair moving.
Yeah. Exactly. That's it. Definitely. Sometimes it gets in your way, and then you're constantly going like that. And if you switch off doing that in a fight, you could get in trouble.
You did.
So
There was somebody actually in a fight? Was it Paul Malignaggi was
oh
fighting,
yeah.
and he got his
Got his
hair
hair
cut
cut. Yeah.
during the fight?
Yeah, Paulie Malignaggi. That was in England as well. That was in the UK as well. I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure. Yeah, I forget who he was fighting. It was in the UK, yeah, and it was all flying down into his face. I think he had dreadlocks or something like that, and they
Mm,
had cut. Yeah.
unbelievable. So you don't want to be, you don't want Stephen to be having to get the scissors out during the rounds. They cut your hair.
Say that again. Sorry,
I
cut
say
out there a small bit.
you don't want Stephen O'Rourke to be obviously having to get the scissors out between rounds to cut your
No,
hair.
definitely not. I wouldn't trust him with a pair of scissors anyway. That's for sure. Trust him with a pair of pads, like without a pair of scissors. Definitely.
So obviously the last time we were speaking, you were 2-0. You're obviously preparing for your third fight out in Belgium.
Yeah.
Guess Belgium probably couldn't have went any better for you. I know when you sort of
Yeah, I mean, yeah, no, I guess, it's nice to get the rounds in too, but obviously it is good to get the knockout as well. So it went really well, and I kind of wish I got a little bit more from it as well. But that's how it is. He come out flying, so yeah.
and it's one of them things. I guess sometimes you may have a plan to go and go. Stephen probably say let's take it easy. Let's go and do the 4 rounds, and then the opponent comes in like a madman, and you're going, I need to get him out of here before he hits. He lands a lucky punch.
Yeah, well, I did. I seen a little clip, a video of him. I don't watch too much of my opponents. I just have a little look at, the way they stand, sort of the way they, just
Mm-hmm.
what they're about for a little minute. And I seen a little video of him, and he just came out flying to this other lad. So I had in my head, I was just like, we seen him. He was staying in a hotel and all this crack, and he was going around all smiley, all confident. And he's wearing a big leather biker jacket and all this. So he had tattoos. I was like, this fella's definitely going to come running at me. Because when we weighed in, like, when you look in each other's eyes, I have to say now, I could see it in his eyes. He was up for it.
Mm-hmm.
You can always tell by someone's eyes. He was up for it. I said, okay. So I was expecting him to run out, and that's why when he did run out, but obviously it was before the bell or whatever happened there. It was strange. It was the ref's fault, to be honest. He ran out, and I didn't know what was going on because the bell didn't ring or nothing. And then once the ref broke us up and we were going again, I said, all right, I knew he was coming, so I was going to throw that left uppercut under to the body, and I knew it was going to land. I threw 2 or 3 of them, and that was it. He was hurt then, and just jumped on him,
And to get obviously your first, like there's boxers, there's obviously other age boxing stuff in the scene. Ryan obviously O'Rourke obviously got his first stoppage win recently there as well. Does it sort of, sometimes if you go a few fights and you're not getting the knockout, or you're trying and it's not happening, but then obviously you get one that lands, then you know that you have something that the opponents can be feared of in a way. If you
well, yeah.
they sort of
I
see
think,
it where they go, oh, you're pillow fisted, you can't punch, and then you stop someone, and then they go, well, that's got a stoppage. So now opponents will probably fear going, this guy I'm fighting probably might knock me out, because sometimes some of these guys, some of them are obviously journeymen, they obviously help, the likes of yourself transitioning to pro boxing, but
yeah.
they sometimes don't want, particularly with with shows sort of going to be coming fuller on again now, they don't want to be getting stopped and been out for a month. So now that it might be a bit more tricky to matchmaking now they see if a stoppage won.
Well, see, this is the thing as well. Like, it's a little bit of journeymen don't like getting stopped. 9 times out of 10, they're quite cute. Like the first 2 lads I fought in Spain, they were very tough, but they were very cute as well. I had them hurt, but they knew how to navigate their way through and stuff like this, But I find sometimes it's when you're actually boxing lads who are coming to win, who are better, they leave themselves more open because they're doing their own work.
Mm-hmm.
They might be landing too, but they're leaving themselves more open because they're looking to win. They're looking to land more than you're landing, which opens opportunities. And look, everyone can say you're not a puncher, you're this or you're that, but you get hit hard enough with little 8-ounce gloves on, you're gonna know about it. Like, do you know what I mean? And for me personally, I've always known I could punch from before the debut. Since I was younger in boxing, I've always known I could punch. Every time someone takes me in the pads, they say I can punch. So that was never going to be an issue for me, thinking I wouldn't get a knockout, this, that, and the other. I knew the knockouts would come once I started to get my groove a little bit and relax a little bit more and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I expect many more knockouts in the future as well, to be honest.
And I say it's just, sometimes it's like, if you go a few fights and you're not getting it, and then you start going, I want a knockout, and then you start trying more for it, you start throwing more into it, and then you become reckless then, and obviously in your pursuit to sort of spark them out.
Yeah, well, I did it the other way around. I wanted it my first fight. I badly wanted to knock out my first fight. I said I always just envisioned myself knocking someone out in my first fight, sort of thing, since I was younger. It was all the way. I thought I was going to start my pro career with a knockout. Start as you mean to go on, sort of thing. But I tried too hard. I hadn't been in the ring for 3 years. I tried too hard. The lad I was fighting was tough. I mean, I caught him with a massive uppercut in the 3rd round, and I got so excited that I didn't even throw my punches correctly because I was just trying to take his. Because I thought even just landing them might knock him off balance because he was already hurt. You know that.
And then sometimes you put yourself in the fear then as well that you lose your defense and then you get hit by a lucky one.
That's another thing. You live and you learn. Yeah, well, this is it, and we've seen it happen loads. Especially when you open up and you tense up yourself, you become a little bit unaware of what's coming back, and if something comes back quite quick, it can take you by surprise. So yeah, you always have to be wary of that too.
You definitely do. And how's the sort of your last fight was in the middle of March in Belgium? How have you sort of because you get into your now you get into your 4th fight. What you think it was October you made your debut, so probably the cut between 3 and 4 is probably the longest you sort of had for training and things like that. Sort of how have you found the sort of quiet time sort of preparing for the next fight?
Yeah, well, for me, I'm just always in the gym. I'm always trying to improve. So I took a 5 days to a week off. I did a couple of sessions just to relax a little bit, just because obviously the diet, and I had 2 fights close together, that sort of thing, the diet and just the mental stress as well, So I took a small break and I got back in the gym, and then, it was kind of, all right, get back in the gym and I'll start working hard towards another date, whenever that may be. I was thinking that it was actually going to be end of May, early June. That was what I was hoping for. But this one popped up, I thought it was going to be, I thought it was going to be out middle of May. But this one popped up the end of May. So I said, yeah, no problem. And then obviously got Belgium then 3 weeks later. So it's just, look, you obviously, especially with COVID, you have to take what you're given in a sense, wherever the show's popping up, if you can get on them, you can't be really saying, oh, no, I don't want to fight on this one, I want to fight on that one. And, you can't really, especially when you're starting off, you can't pick and choose you unless you're, I don't know, one of these superstars that won an Olympic medal. You've got to get your spaces where you can just improve. And, I'm 25 years old now, so I'm not old, but I'm not 20 years old, so realistically I've 5 to 8 years in the game, depending on how my career goes. There's all these sort of things, injuries, life, whatever else. So I want to make the most of it. I don't want to go places a bit quicker, I don't want to be hanging around in the journeyman stage for too long. I mean, it's okay when you're 20, 21, 22. You have more time on your side, so it's all right to develop as a man and as a boxer, but I want to go at a quick enough pace.
Sounds like you've been spending too much time with Tony Brown. He's a man on a mission as well.
Yeah. Tony's definitely a man on a mission. Yeah, look, it rubs off. Like I come back from a week off, and then the next thing I know, I see one of the other lads are fighting. Like Ryan was fighting, and so he's gearing up for his fight, and then you're trying to help him. Then you're kind of like, oh well, I want to fight again now because you've had your little break. You're like, oh, do you know what I mean? So it's great. Like the gym's got to be one of the busiest gyms in Europe, let alone Ireland. We're fighting so regular. Come June, if I do fight in Spain and and get the wins, I'll have had 5 fights in 7 months as a pro. There's not many fighters out there that can say that, And I'm not coming from a big stable background with big promotion backing or none of that, So, and obviously I think Tony's nearly 6-0 now, is he? I think he might be 6-0 after this one. I think
it's hard to keep up with it because obviously I know.
It's hard to keep.
Even the fights, but it's probably more so the box rank. Obviously, they don't update the fights as regularly.
Yeah. Look, that's the thing as well. We're fighting so regularly and stuff like this, and it's every other week. There's, you're seeing something about one of the lads fighting here or there. So it's brilliant stuff, Well,
on Tony's Instagram, he has him down as sales 4 now. So this must be his 5th fight coming up, and then obviously 6 in Belgium.
Okay, yeah, maybe it is then. Yeah. I'd like to say it's hard to remember. Even I'm starting to forget how many fights I've had, let alone anyone else.
Yeah. And if Tony messages afterwards, it's his own fault if he's more than 4 than no because he hasn't updated his Instagram.
yeah, it could be that, honestly. Do you know what I mean? You're fighting that regularly, you nearly forget, but yeah.
Exactly. And obviously next weekend as well, back out in Spain, it's going to be a first 6-rounder as well. Obviously it's shown a great progression. I know obviously Stephen has obviously said that every fight's a progression for fighters, and now 4 fights stepping up to 6 rounds. It can't probably go any better for you than it is.
Yeah, no, it's going brilliant. Look, I'm putting the hard work in the gym. Stephen sees what I'm doing day in, day out. He sees how fit I am. I'm one of these lads that even if I'm not in the gym, I'm doing something. I don't like to sit idle. So I'm always trying to get fit because the boxing, again, is a long I want to win world titles, but I have to be for fit rounds. 8 rounds I need to go with. So I'm always like, even if after these 2 fights I take a small break, I'm only going to take a small break and then be back on it to try build that fitness, because although you have to bring on your boxing skills, the fitness is very, very, very important in the game, especially up at the top. So I'm always trying to focus on that. So moving up to 6 rounds, I'm looking forward to it. I feel more than ready. I'm doing 6 rounds in the gym, no problem. So when you're fresh on fight night, you feel $1 million. It becomes a lot more easier because you're a lot more controlled, relaxed, and you're not cutting weight or had a hard session the day before or something like that. So I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be good, and a half decent step up as well.
Yeah, your opponent. I know obviously it's probably announced different sometimes, but it comes up there. Marian Marius Istrate. He's 3-8. So obviously he's a few wins behind him as well. He's the same amount of wins as you have. He's obviously suffered obviously 8 defeats, but it's a 6-round fight, and it's you obviously on paper you should that's your job's 31, but he'll obviously pose different dangers to you in the fight, and probably.
Yeah, look, I had a little look at him, like I look at most of my opponents if I can, and he's not bad. His record probably suggests he's worse than he is. He's got a nice little left hook, and he's game. Like if he's sitting on the ropes and you're firing off, he'll fire back. He even sometimes wait for you to, so he's not going to be an easy job, and he's not been stopped in any of his fights either. So that's another thing. And I know he's done 6, and I think he may have even done an 8-rounder. And I know he boxed is it Molina? Is an Spanish champion who's now like 17-0. And he's a pretty good lightweight, and he gave him a half decent fight. Obviously, the man Molina won quite clearly, but he tested him. He gave him the rounds, 6 rounds, and he made him work for the win. And I expect him to do the same to me. So
Yep.
it's gonna be a good fight to watch.
It definitely is. And obviously, it's, I guess for you yourself, it's, where you having a fight date for Belgium and stuff announced as well, you sort of, when you know that, 19th of June, back out for the 5th fight in Belgium, is it sort of, how is it to sort of program yourself and to go focus on the one fight when you have another fight sort of coming? Is it just to go, let's focus on Spain next week and then worry about Belgium after that?
Yeah, I really don't care. It's the fight game, isn't it? You have to fight. Like, it's just one of them things. I'll fight anyone anyway. It's just, if you got to fight now, you got to fight next week. Who cares? It's a fight. It's, at the end of the day, obviously you're fighting different people, so you might use certain different shots or different tactics or whatever. But at the end of the day, you have your own style. So I don't worry too much. I know what I bring to the table, and I know as each fight goes on, I'm going to progress. So for me, it's like, yeah, I'm fighting in Spain, so I'm concentrating on that. Obviously I've thought about the Belgian fight or whatever, but at the same time, I don't really care about it, because whoever I'm fighting, I think the opponent's nearly even been announced. I'm not even sure.
Yeah,
I think
I have the
another
opponent
Irish
here.
lad.
I have the opponent here, Angelo Turco. He's a Belgian. Hasn't been stopped in over nearly 2.5 years as well. So you've been
He's going to get stopped this year.
You've been match good. I think the last time it was stopped, I think, was December 2018. So Connor's getting you matched well with people that's there to give you rounds. And then if you go out and you stop them, happy days.
Well, see, this is the thing. Look, I can punch a bit, so they want me to get the rounds in, because problem is, if they put me in with easy journeymen who've been knocked out loads, all you're going to get then is me knocking people out in 1 or 2 rounds, and I'm not going to learn what I need to learn to when I get to title fights, or when I get to fights where I have 50-50 fights. So I'm bring on the tough lads. That's what I want, because tough journeymen as well, they have a certain element of pride. They're not just going to let you beat them up. They might let you. They might not be able to beat you, but they're not going to let you beat them up. If they're sitting there taking punishment, they're probably going to come back with wild shots. So anything can happen. And look, the lad I'm fighting in Spain, he's pretty tough. He's definitely durable. Never been stopped. I've seen a clip of him. He's no mug. He's ready to fight. He's a Romanian chap. So you don't know what he's been through in his life or whatever. He's living in Spain now, residing in Spain. So who knows? Like, he's a tough man. And then the next lad, he's supposed to have given an Irish lad a 50-50 fight. Was it a draw? Some lad in Ireland, was it a draw or something?
Sure. I never really looked into your Belgian opponent. I'll just actually bring him up here. I know he actually fought.
I was told he fought an Irish lad and he drew with him, or it might not have been a draw, a split decision or something like that. So that was obviously a close fight, So,
let me see if I just bring it up here, just while we're talking about it. It's one of these things. Sometimes, everybody's probably like yourself as well. Somebody says something, and then it sticks in your head, so you have to find out. So, thankfully, I have a phone close by to have a look.
Yeah. No, like, whoever it is, anyway, whoever he fought, the Irish lad who he fought hasn't got the same style as me. He doesn't bring the same.
Niall O'Connor.
Okay, I don't know him personally, but I don't know what style is he. Is it orthodox or southpaw?
Orthodox. Turco was. So he fought Niall O'Connor in Belgium last time around. So scorecards are pretty. Yeah, split decision. 58, 57, 57, 58, 56, 59. So pretty close fight. And obviously Niall's had a few more fights than you himself. Obviously he was 5-0 at that stage with 4 knockouts. So he was probably expected to go and blow your guy Turco out.
But who this is the other part of it. Who did he knock out? Who are the 4 knockouts he's knocked out? I don't know who they are. I'm not saying they were bad, but this is the thing, we're getting easy. Maybe he had them 4 knockouts were very easy fights, and then he gets in with a lad who is tough, and he's having a 50-50 fight because he's not learning the things he should have learned. So look, I'm a different fight to him. He's an orthodox. He's got 4 knockouts. He had more fights than me. I'm a southpaw. We'll see how I deal with him. Do you know what I mean? I'm sure I'll deal with him in a lot easier fashion than obviously the other Irish lad did. So I'm looking forward to putting on a show for both of them.
Yeah, but definitely. And I say it's the confidence, I guess, it's you have to be confident as a boxer, so you sort of have to be confident in your own
Yeah.
ability to go and do the best you can and go, let's just go and see what we can do. I'm a southpaw, I'm going to bring something different to the table and see how it goes.
Yeah, for me, I think confidence is everything. It always has been for me throughout my life. You know, some say it's maybe cocky or arrogant. Some say this, some say that. But for me, I've always been confident, and especially when it comes to fighting, anytime I get in the ring, doesn't matter who it's against, I will believe I can win. Maybe I'll be deluded, who knows? But I'll believe I can win, and that belief and confidence, it makes me, I feel, very different to your average boxer, because a lot of boxers get in there with doubt. They might not tell you that, but they doubt themselves. They could have a bad spar and be like, oh, I don't know if I'm ready, or start doubting themselves. I never doubt myself. Even if I have a bad spar, I brush it off. I'll be better next time, and 9 times out of 10 I am. Do you know what I mean? And it's the same with the fight game. Even if you put me in a world with a world champion tomorrow, I'd be confident that I could do well. Do you know what I mean? That's just who I am. That's the way I am naturally. So it helps as a boxer to have that. It definitely helps.
It definitely does. And obviously, you probably another great sparring partner, obviously, to have here now in Callum Bradley, joining up with
Yeah.
works as well. I sorted him on a few weeks ago, and it must be hard for Callum with the fact that he can't get fights at the moment, and everybody else is
Yeah.
getting fights. But I guess he's helping to play the part for the rest of you, and obviously preparing you for fights. And then when he gets fight news, it's going to come back on himself as well. Then.
Yeah, look, Callum's a good lad, especially for me to have in the gym, because he's around my size, sort of height and stuff. He's a little bit lighter than me, but like we have good sparring. He's a good technical boxer, so he helps bring on my technical boxing. Do you know what I mean? Kind of, with him being in with us, his we say inside fighting's coming along nicely now. He's starting to sit on his shots that little bit better. A bit more of a pro style. But it all rubs off. Do you know what I mean? You see, so like, you see one lad doing something really good, and you're looking at him doing it. You're like, okay, that's how you're supposed to do that. Do you know, that sort of way? Like, so even just him being in the gym and sitting there, I don't know. Like, I've seen him a few times watching the sparring. After he sparred or whatever, watching the sparring and stuff. No, he's being a student of the game. Like, so it's good to have him in the gym as well. I'm sure his time will come when fights do start
and obviously
hopefully now. Yeah.
Tiernan was saying as well that obviously he's seen obviously big improvements to Callum and obviously enjoying the gym as well. So it's
in the short time he hasn't been with us time long, but I mean even from when I first sparred him before we say he joined up with the gym properly, I first sparred him to maybe even 3 sparring sessions later of being in the gym. Like he was sitting down and he was punching with a lot more power, and not because he'd magically got stronger in the last 3 weeks or whatever it was. It was just for the fact that he was in the gym and he was, he's sitting down in his shots. He was throwing them more correct with that pro style. Stephen's obviously whispering in his ear, telling him to do this and do that, whatever he's been telling him personally, I don't know. But, and you can see that he's, I know because I'm the one he's punching in the head or the body, you know what I mean? So I can tell from when I first sparred him to a few sparring sessions after, he was definitely improving. The power was definitely coming along a bit more, and he was, doing certain things a little bit better.
And obviously talking about Callum's obviously probably Callum's been a long time Canelo fan.
Yeah.
Sort of blends us on to the next thing, because I know you're a massive fan of the sport as well as has been in it. What did you make of Canelo Saunders?
Yeah, I mean, it's Canelo, he's impressive, isn't he? One thing that impresses me about him so much is his relaxation. He's so relaxed. Doesn't matter if he's losing a round. He's very relaxed. Even when he goes back to his corner, I can't remember a time I ever seen him in the corner looking worried. Even if he was down, like, I mean, Billy Joe Saunders started a bit slow for me, but he started coming into it more. But Canelo was just relaxed. He knew it was going to come. His skill level is very, very high, but his strength for his size is ridiculous. He's a unit. He really is, and the way. It's not just that he's beating great fighters; it's the way he's beating them. I mean, he dealt with Callum Smith, who I honestly thought I really did think Callum Smith was going to cause him a lot of problems.
Yeah,
and it was easy. It looked like he was in second or third gear. It really did. And then the Saunders fight, I mean, Saunders was doing well. I knew he was going to have the right style to make it tricky for Canelo, but to blow out his eye socket or whatever with one punch is pretty phenomenal, you know.
It
It
is.
really is.
I think I'm probably becoming even more and more of a fan of Canelo probably recently because
Same.
like you look at particularly Callum Smith in the Saunders fight. Like the Callum Smith fight, he was punching him in the arms, and obviously ended up with a bicep injury. He wasn't just punching the body; he was punching the arms. Anywhere he thinks he could slow him down, and with the Saunders fight, he used his experience to go, Billy can't keep doing what he's doing for 12 rounds. So he knows
Yeah.
he's going to slow down. So he's looking for weaknesses. He was looking for wee chinks in the armour to go,
Yeah.
what's he doing here? What's he repeating? And he kept repeating the duck. And then obviously that's when he
Yeah.
threw in the uppercut.
Yeah. And not just, I think I was aware of it as it was happening. It was every time that Billy Joe, as a southpaw, was kind of, we say, dipping to the right or trying to move off to his right, he was coming with that left hook to the body. Because we all know, headshots you can miss by miles sometimes, but body shots, you might not land perfectly every time, but if you're hitting an elbow or you're hitting an arm or you're hitting a hip or you're hitting something, it's going to take some sort of effect in one way or another. He was throwing a lot of them.
Mm-hmm.
So, one thing I love about Canelo is he picks different shots for each fight. Each fight you can see he's worked on certain shots. And he repeats them and he repeats them over the rounds. And they might not land perfectly at the start, but he gets his time in eventually. And that confidence to, even if something's not working at the start, to keep going with it because you know it's going to work. And to be relaxed doing it is, it's like that's why he's pound for pound number one. He really is. No one could. I don't think anyone could doubt that now. He is.
I'm always shy and sometimes giving my predictions probably in writing away. Obviously, I was right in the fact that Canelo was going to stop him, but I looked at Canelo, I looked at Saunders probably the same way I did with Amir Khan. Amir Khan probably, was boxing the ears off Canelo for 5 or 6 rounds and staying out of distance and everything else. And then the one time he makes a mistake and goes the wrong way, so whenever he get KO'd.
Yeah, look, I have to say, Saunders showed a good chin. He did, and even the uppercut, if you look the way he dipped, he wasn't even fully on balance. He was off balance,
Mm-hmm.
and the shot was a thunder, like it was so powerful. That's how it shattered his eye socket or his orbital bone, So to stay even up from that was very impressive. It actually showed me I didn't think Saunders' chin was as good as it was,
Mm-hmm.
And look, everyone could say, whatever. He more than likely should have been pulled, but had that not happened, he was taking the shots well, and I think he could come back from it and fight. Maybe move down to middleweight would suit him a little bit better. He's not the biggest super middleweight either, really, but I think it was a good fight for him. It was. Look, he got paid millions. Do you know what I mean? And it was to test his skills. And what more can you say? Like boxing's boxing. Anything can happen. One day that might happen to Canelo. He break his eye socket or break his jaw and something, or even break his hand. And next thing you know, he can't throw a hand. And so it's like he's at the moment he looks unstoppable, but he will get beat. He's in his prime. He's fighting so regularly. He's training all the time. He's on the best form of his life and the best form he probably will ever have. But there's a fighter there who I reckon could cause him a lot of problems. Is that in a year or two? Is that Edwin Bellinger? Do you know him?
Yeah. He's the
He
one with
is
first round knockouts.
he is a ferocious puncher. But I watched his last fight. It was an 8-rounder, and he showed a lot more because obviously he had to. And if he got a couple of more fights like that with longer rounds, I'm telling you, he's a problem for a lot of people in that 168-pound division because he has got real power.
And I guess sometimes, it's like, you probably look at the Mayweather Pacquiao thing for time sometimes when it was a danger so much, avoid it for so long. So, probably Canelo might go, you know what, I'm fed up at 168, I'll move up to 175, or I might move back down to 160, I might just not stay there because they're running out of opponents.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, one thing you have to say about Canelo, he really is fighting the best. I seen Andrade come out, calling him out at the presser. But I mean, you can't even really call Canelo a bitch or a dodger or this, that. He's fighting everyone. He's picking up belts like it's fun. Do you know what I mean? Like, most people struggle their whole life to pick up one world championship. And this lad's picking up 3 within the space of 12 months, beating legitimate world champions and making it look easy. Do you know, you just can't, there's nothing bad you can say about that. You know, you've got like lads there, like, you know, Charlo. Everyone's saying about Charlo as a middleweight, but who has he fought? For me, he hasn't fought anyone that's a solid, legitimate middleweight. I'm not saying he's not good. I think he's a brilliant fighter, and he probably gives a lot of them a great fight. But, you know, Canelo, that's why it's hard to back against Canelo now, because he's fighting all these styles and he's beating them and he's doing it convincingly. Whereas a lot of these lads are saying, oh, I could beat Canelo, I can beat Triple G, but they've not fought anyone of that caliber. Do you know, it's okay saying that, but go fight someone that's that caliber and then you can shout about it, you know?
And the only one left from now, obviously, is Caleb Plant, who's obviously, you know, is a world champion himself as well, and he's very accurate with his punches, but then, you know, he hasn't fought Canelo yet.
He's very slick again. He's got good skills, but it's not enough against Canelo. It really isn't. You know, I just don't think it is. I don't think Caleb Plant. If Callum Smith and Saunders couldn't beat Canelo at 168, I just can't see Caleb Plant doing it. I think Canelo's best chance of getting beat is Betibiev at 175, purely on natural size and power. Purely, that's the only, you know, part skill-wise at the moment, I just can't see anyone who has the skill level to beat him. You know, his relaxation, how relaxed he is in close quarters, even in and out of range. He looks out of range and he takes one little calm step in, he's in range, shoots his shot, lands. It's always being constantly relaxed for me is so impressive.
Yeah, it's crazy. And sort of looking ahead to this weekend, we've obviously all the belts on the line at 140, Ramirez and Taylor. You were sort of saying, as we were sort of talking before we started, and sort of saying that, you know, we're cutting weight and obviously getting ready for your fight and things like that. You'll be watching it on Sunday morning, you know, so nobody will be texting you and your phone will be turned off until you watch it.
It will be, it will be, because obviously I'm fighting the following week, so I need to get plenty of sleep and stuff. But yeah, I'll be tuning into that in the morning. The Josh Taylor and Ramirez fight. That's a cracking fight. Ramirez is a great fighter. I mean, he's dealt with most of his opponents. I mean, you know, he knocked out that Maurice Hooker, who was a world champion and did good fight. He knocked him out in 6 rounds. He's ferocious. He's, you know, them Mexicans. I don't know what it is about the Mexicans. They half can throw a lot of shots. They're throwing mad. They throw hundreds of shots around. I don't know what it is. I don't know whether it's the way they fight in the gyms, whether the way they spar, or what the story is. But they have serious engines. But Josh Taylor, he can match that. And I think Josh Taylor's he's so ferocious at 140. He's just got that. He's got that spite, and he has the. Although he doesn't look like he has the strength, he seems to have it. You know, he seems to be able to push lads back who are strong and fight on the inside, box at the outside. You know, and being a southpaw, he's that bit more awkward and stuff. And he's a bit like, you know, for me, another person at the moment at 140, I can't see anyone beating him. And I can't even see the likes of Tiafimo or any of them stepping up and beating him either. I think Josh Taylor, I rate Josh Taylor enough to say that even at 147, I think he's a problem for Crawford and Spence and them guys, you know.
And like, this is like his 18th pro fight. He's fighting his 5th unbeaten fighter in a row. I think his last 5 fights, the record's been 110-1. It's like a throwback to years ago where it's like, who's undefeated? Let's take him next. Who's undefeated? Let's take him next. And he's the old killer. Yeah,
he has. Look, I've never met him. I don't know him. I would say he's got a similar mindset to me. He's a real fighter. He's not a boxer. You know, you know, in boxing, there's boxers who like boxing, but they don't want to really fight. Bless me, hay fever. I've got hay fever, yeah. But you know, he's a fighter. You know, he doesn't mind having a scrap, even if it doesn't suit him as his style. You know, if he has to bite down in the gum shield and fight, he will. And he, you know, he's shown it. He was fighting for I'm pretty sure it was a Commonwealth in his 7th fight. Although he did have a big amateur pedigree, you know, he was what? World champion at 15 fights, unified straight away. And it's not only the belts he's picking up, it's who he's fighting again and who he's beating. You know, Regis Prograis is a brilliant fight. Everyone expected him to win. And it was a good fight. It was close enough. But for me, Taylor won it. I think, you know, and again, he's still pretty young. He's still coming along. You know, he's joined up with Ben Davidson, who I actually think would probably be a great match for him because he's so ferocious that if you can taper him back a small bit and get him to do certain other things better, that ferociousness is there anyway. You don't need to teach that. You know, that sort of bite down in your gum shield and fight. He has it. He doesn't need to be pushed in the gym in the last 2 rounds of the fight and told, oh, stand there and fight. He'll do that anyway. So I think Ben Davison is probably a great match for him for tactics and, you know.
You sort of look at Josh Taylor and probably in the comparisons with Carl Frampton as well. You know, you could like me or you could train Josh Taylor or Carl Frampton and take him to world title, but it's the other wee bit sometimes you might need when you come on your biggest tests. They obviously they won, you know, like they have the talent, they burn, you know, way beyond the years of a lot of fighters, but sometimes you're going, they nearly make a coach's job a dream because they're going, well, I'm going to be, you know, I'm not a world champion coach yet, but I'm going to be when you fight for world title because that's the fighters they are.
Everyone goes at different pace. I mean, like Ben Davidson's a young man. He come out of nowhere. You know, he really did. He come out with Billy Joe Saunders and Fury. However he knows them, I don't know, but he come out with them. Obviously, they respected his boxing knowledge. Just because he's young doesn't mean he's not a good coach. I don't know. I'm not saying he is a good coach, but you know, he's respected by good fighters. So you know, and they know their boxing. Do you know what I mean? They know their boxing. So he must know what he's at. But you know, you got the likes of then my coach Stephen O'Rourke. He's been in the game years. Been in the game years himself. Was a fighter himself. And he's been coaching years. So you know, you pick up different knowledge, and everyone has their own ways of doing things. So, you know, you just find what's best for you, you know.
And Stephen's still only 21 as well.
Yeah. He's 21. He looks 21. He's a young-looking man for his age, I'll tell you that much. That's for sure. You're
making sure you stay nice because you know that obviously you're probably training things. You know, you'll see him before I'll see him. So I can be not as nice, but you know, if I say something wrong here, Stephen's going to get me in the gym.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't worry about it. He's probably going to put me through it tomorrow anyway. He doesn't really care if I'm nice or not.
Well, you've already slated him that he's no good at cutting hair, so he's probably something on you there already.
Yeah.
You know, but look, I'll let you go and obviously enjoy the rest of your evening. Obviously, I know you have a bit of hay fever and stuff there as well.
Yeah, I'm going to take the dog for a walk now, so I'm kept busy.
Definitely was. But listen, obviously, it's been good getting to catch up with you again. I'm sure we'll probably catch up again, probably. I don't know, we'll maybe try and find some free time between Belgium and probably your 6th pro fight.
Yeah. I mean, definitely after the Belgian one. I mean, I don't know in between if there's any point or whatever. We'll wait and see. But yeah, I'm sure we'll catch up again soon and have a chat.
Definitely, John. But listen, it was good catching up with you again. Obviously, all the best for your fight next weekend.
Yeah, nice one. Appreciate it.
Cheers, mate. Take care. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.